Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. I am Mona Duncan, and this program, our little chats, are to look at how we're, to be able to live in the now, that always is, and then also to appreciate everything that comes to us with gratitude, and to see what lessons there are to be learned, and to realize that the topics that I choose and the things that I teach, I am looking at things that have been effective in my life, and so I offer them to you as a suggestion. Today we're going to be talking about sustaining love. Last week we looked at Valentine's Day and the idea of love and where does it come from and what is it, and so we're going to look at how to sustain love so that it's an ongoing thing. So let me share the screen. And flowers wilt, candy is eaten, balloons pop, those cuddly little animals kind of lose their, and life goes on. Sustaining love is an internal support for all reasons and for all seasons. So thanks everyone for being here. Appreciate it very much. And sustaining love, that we want something that is for everything, that just keeps us going always and always. And so again, last week we looked at the song the beauty of the earth by Foyt Pierpoint, and I asked the question, is love the energy of the universe? Well, it definitely is one, and it is an energy. The song that Foyt Pierpoint wrote back in 1864 says, for the beauty of the earth, for the glories of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. And to realize that there is love in this universe and that it is here. It is part of the air. Just like there is air that we breathe in, so there is also love that surrounds us. And it depends on whether we receive it or not and how we're able to receive it. So in looking at the resilience of Mary Poppins, I'm sure you've seen the movie or know about it, and a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, and how it was looking at that she could fly and could do things in the metaphysical, and it was just a really wonderful person of Mary Poppins, and what a good role model and the things that she taught. But Mary Poppins was based on the teachings of G.I. Gurdjieff. And I love this. I love this comment. It kind of, he said in eloquent form what I try to say. And so he said, try to understand what I'm saying. Everything is dependent on everything else. Everything is connected. Nothing is separate. Therefore, everything is going in the only way it can go. If people were different, everything would be different. They are what they are, so everything is as it is. My philosophy is like this: it is what it is, so what, now what? Now what are we going to do about it? How are we going to handle it? How are we going to receive it? So I asked the question, can we choose to be different? Well, Dr. William Glasser, the founder of choice theory, and the theory behind that is we do choose everything that we do, but we may not always know it or want to admit it or appreciate it. So I suggest that yes, we can choose to be different. We can choose to be awake. Awakening is viable only when we realize that we are asleep. So, sometimes we may be, whether it is the alarm that goes off or whether someone that hollers to you, are you awake? Are you getting up? or maybe you may be reading a book and you doze off and have an awakening. But it's only when we realize that we are asleep, that we're not in touch with, that we are not cognizant of, that we can choose to be more aware, to be more listening, to be more awake. And then also that consciousness is forthcoming when we search for knowing what was previously unknown. When we look at the fact that, oh, I didn't know that, and that it has a ring to it, that would be something that would improve your life if you knew more about it. And so we can choose to become more conscious of what we're doing, what we're saying, of what we're feeling, of how we are projecting, just becoming more conscious, and how we are receiving those things that we're becoming conscious of. It's also looking at the fact that we can choose to turn perception into vision. Now, our perception is the way we see something, and to us, it becomes our reality, it becomes fact. But what is it that we're not seeing? How can we look at the mess and see the mess, but also have the vision of how it can be cleaned up, or how it could be clarified, or how it could be have a resolution to, have a solving? It's looking at what is the secret, choosing to, what's the secret of? You know, whenever we are born, we come into this world and we're always receiving information through our senses. We can't not receive information. And so as we receive that information, we have a tendency to select it. I want that model, I want that style, I want that job, that's what I want. And so in looking at it, we begin to look at, well, you know, that's what I want. So what is the secret of success? What is the secret of a good, healthy relationship? What's the secret of kindness? What is the secret of being patient? And so as we begin to think about and choose to delve into those secrets, to introduce the query with a question, such as, well, could I be a little more kinder? Could I really listen to what the person is saying before I give a rebuttal, or before I ask a question, or before I make a contradiction? To introduce those queries with a question that we thought of in our mind. And then acknowledging the possibilities. And as we acknowledge the possibilities, they become more viable. And it goes back up to the fact that awakening is viable. Acknowledging the possibilities. Well, yes, I could do that. I could do that. So, wisdom of Plato. Plato said, love is born into every human being. It calls back, it echoes back, it brings back, it remembers back the halves of our original nature together. It tries to make one out of two and heal the wound of human nature. So what is the wound of human nature? Separation, division, disregard. And then it kind of leads to the fact of having low esteem and thinking that we're not enough. It's detachment. The wound of human nature is misunderstandings, disconnect. But the more that we focus on those disparities, the more that wound deepens and the more that gap grows. So Plato also wrote The Ladder of Love. And this is just a little equipping of it. Last week, I started off at the bottom and went to the top with agape. And he looks at it as physical, growing into emotional, where we're in touch with our feelings and understand them. And then going on to spiritual, of realizing that there is a presence around it, whether it's something we're afraid of or whether it's something we are drawn toward. And the puppy love, the eros, the instinctual love, the platonic love, can lead us to, as we really embrace those, and we can lead us to the phileo love of brotherly love, and the agape love of loving not because of, but regardless of. loving that just because you are a human being, the highest order on planet Earth, and you have worth and value as a human being. So it's also looking at the challenges of the secrets and the challenges of success. Thing of it is, there really are no secrets. With all the books that's been written and all the things that have been passed on, but there can be some surprises. And I think of two cartoons looking back. One was a Zitz cartoon where the parents were giving the instructions of to receive what the teacher says and begin to check out the books you need to get all of your supplies and make an outline of what you're going to do and all this kind of stuff to tell him how to be more successful in making his report and having a good grade. And then later, the kid was just all questions and didn't understand anything. And then one day he came in and said, you know, I got the books that I needed to look at, and I've made an outline, and I have all of my materials that I need, and this is going to be a piece of cake. And so there are no secrets. It's just that we're not willing to hear them. And whenever we begin to awaken to and become conscious of, we become surprised by our own intelligence. Another one was the cartoon of Kathy, and Kathy was grumbling to her mother about the workload and about her finances and about so much to do and the clutter. And the mother says, well, be frugal and, you know, clean up after yourself. And anyway, Kathy gets all disgruntled, and mother says, oh, if only I wasn't so smart, if I wasn't so intelligent. So there really are no secrets to life. They're being revealed to us everywhere, but we can be surprised by them. It's also the challenge to know that life is a give and receive process, that it is difficult to receive information if we're asleep or if we're sluggish, that it is difficult to appreciate the small things if we're just looking for something else. So the challenge is to give up our roles and become genuine. Well, what are our roles? And it's to be awake enough that we know that this is a role that we slide into. Some of the roles can include helper, the rescuer, the teacher, the counselor, the fixer, the know-it-all, the perceiver. And as we give up those roles and begin to look at maybe what genuinely we could impart to someone without going into trying to see if they're awake enough to hear what we're trying to impart. It's also the challenge of exploring the difference in doing and in loving. It's noticing when our duty becomes drudgery. It is noticing when our job becomes a grind, whenever we have taken the joy out of life, the love out of life. It also is the challenge of looking for love. It's also the challenge of realizing that looking for love is the foundation of searching for love in all the wrong places. It is looking for, it's in looking for love, in, you know, the challenge is to go beyond that feel-good emotion to the titillating feelings, and it's to looking at what is long-term and what is sustaining, and it's what will keep us on track and will help to bring us back to the right path. And then I put here kind of the challenge of the I really like you clarification, that it's similar to, you know, taking a sentence, taking a statement and emphasizing each word differently. I really like you. But then think about it. I, and who is I? Or I really like you. And then how is that really? Does it expand? Or does it help you to see, do I really like this? Or do I really like this person? Or do I really like them, but I don't like this particular attitude or this particular habit they have? If we can begin to clarify, if we can begin to self-evaluate, and it will help us to self-evaluate in looking at the challenges to those the secrets, the challenges. And then, the prophet Gilbran says, work is love made visible. And so as we work at these challenges, then the sustaining love can be made visible, and we really can become more kind. And so here is a poem that was written by Of Earth and Sky. It was written by Drew Jackson, who is a board member of the Center for Action and Contemplation. And it was in the Richard Rohr's daily blog here just a few days ago. And I thought it was so powerful. I just wanted to share it with you. So Drew writes, let me tell you about the ancestors. It's a poem that he wrote. Let me tell you about the ancestors, she said to me as I sat and relaxed myself into Grandma's lap. She was sharp, and even in her old age, her memory could search into the far reaches of the past. I can't stay up too late, not like I used to. And then she proceeded to tell me tales of greats and great-greats who did some great and some not so great things. Our family tree is filled with triumphs and struggles. The imperfections make it beautiful. They're all just human, you know, just like you. She poked her frail finger into the flesh of my pectoral. My kin of the earth, the humus, yet filled with the breath of God. Is that not what it meant to be Adam? Never forget who you came from, she said before calling it a night. Her words implied that this sort of remembrance would keep me grounded, but also keep me going. Soaring high when they try to keep me down, I won't forget that I am part of earth and sky. And so that sustaining love, that sustaining long term, that we are of the earth, we're also of the sky, that we are positive and we are negative. We are fabulous and we are flawed, but we have remarkable abilities. And so may we take them and use them and just good mental health.